Angle relationships. Adjacent angles are angles that share a common side. So here, angle ABC is adjacent to angle CBD because they share that common side of CB. Complementary angles are two angles that have a sum of 90 degrees. Complementary angles can be adjacent or not. So in the first example, we have an example of adjacent complementary angles, whereas the second example are just complementary angles that are next to each other. Supplementary angles are two angles that have the sum of 180 degrees. And again, supplementary angles can be adjacent or not, as long as their sum is 180 degrees. A way to remember this: C comes before S in the alphabet, and 90 comes before 180. So complementary is 90 degrees, supplementary 180 degrees for two angles added together. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure, and this is the symbol for congruent. Congruent is the word we use in geometry to mean equal. Equal is used more in algebra. Vertical angles, those are angles that are across from each other. So in this picture, angle 1 is vertical to angle 3, and angle 2 is vertical to angle 4. So angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical. Angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical. Now vertical angles also have another property. Vertical angles are congruent to each other. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 3, and angle 2 is congruent to angle 4. Vertical angles are congruent. Corresponding angles are angles that are in the same position as another angle. Corresponding angles are congruent. Here I have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. 8 angles are formed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Corresponding angles are the angles that are in the same position. So if you could imagine cutting the transversal, picking up these bottom 4 angles and putting them on top of the top 4 angles. Angle 1 and 5 are in the same position. Angle 2 and angle 6 are in the same position. Angle 3 and angle 7, and angle 4 and angle 8. These angles are all corresponding, and since they're corresponding, they are congruent. So 1 is congruent to 5, 2 is congruent to 6, 3 is congruent to 7, and 4 is congruent to 8.